Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Kotu Samprabha Nirvighna Deva Sarvakarshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Guru Om Sahasranamam Shankara Acharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Madhyantam Mante Guru Paramparam Asmad Namaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Prabhashyakutau Vande Bhagavantu Punah ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्तिस्वामिने नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै विनावधेतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम सच्चिदानंद रूपाय कृष्णाय कृष्णकारिणे नमो वेदांत वेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे कृष्णद्वैपाय व्यासं सर्वलोकहिते रतं वेदाब्ज भास्करं वन्दे महाविष्णुं मुनिं सहस्रमूर्ते पुरुषोत्तमस्य सहस्रनेत्राननपादभावोः सहस्रनाम्नां स्तवनं प्रशस्तं निरुच्यते जन्मजराभिः। Namaste everyone.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om. So we were seeing this sloka. Subhajo Durdaro Bhagmi Mahendro Vasudo Vasuhu Naika Rupo Brihat Rupaha Shipy Vishtaf Prakashanaha. And in this we have seen the meaning of Subhujaha and Durdaraha in the last class. Right? Now we'll see the meaning of next Nama, Bhagmi. Bhagmi means the one from whom the words of Veda have come. Yataha nisruta brahmamayi vak tasmad Bhagmi, says Adi Shankara. So Bhagmi is the one, in general sense, a person is called a Bhagmi who has the capacity to communicate well through words. Such a person is called a Bhagmi. And Bhagavan is called Bhagmi because he has a great capacity to communicate that which cannot easily be communicated and which cannot be understood through any other pramana also. Vedas are considered as Sabda Pramana, and what Vedas convey cannot be understood by any other pramana like Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Arthapatti. All those other pramanas fail in understanding what the Vedas want to convey. So Bhagavan communicates himself, reveals himself as the Param Brahma through the words of the Vedas. Brahman is communicated not by experience, because we have already the experience of Brahman. In each and every object that we perceive and we experience, there is an experience of Brahman in the form of Sat and Chit, existence and consciousness. So whatever we are experiencing, all that is all experienced is Brahman alone. That we must understand. Going beyond the names and forms, the Nama Rupas, we must understand that every object exists. Every object has a consciousness. In some, it is reflected consciousness. In some, there is no capacity to reflect the consciousness. But every object is pervaded by consciousness, pervaded by existence. And that is why we say that every object, experience of every object is experience of Brahman alone. And what is Brahman? Satchidananda is Brahman. But the irony is, words have no access to Brahman. Because if we say that every object is experience of Brahman, we can see the name and form, we can see the form and we can give it a name of the object. But how to understand that Brahman is is behind these objects, is the cause for these objects? Words cannot reveal that, but still it has to be revealed through words alone, because that's the only thing we all understand. So Brahman is revealed as the implied meaning of the words. And by this, what cannot be achieved by words is achieved by words. Even though our senses and all the 5 sense organs and other pramanas have no access to Brahman, it is revealed through Shabda Pramana, which is the Veda. That is how the impossible is achieved. It is a method, it's a process. We have to understand. We have to go through the Upanishadic teaching to understand. And the Upanishad themselves, they give the method and the teaching tradition as to how it has to be understood and taught also. The Upanishad says Brahman is the mind of the mind, the ear of the ear, eye of the eye, and so on. So we know what is an eye. We know what is an ear. We know what is mind. So if Brahman is mind of the mind, then the words of the Upanishad reveal what that Brahman is. He is above this mind. He is the one who is actually the creator of this mind. Mind and of course all the other organs. Upanishads only talk in one context about all the sense or organs rather. And Upanishads also uses paradoxes to reveal this vastu, the reality, absolute reality through words rather. Because this Brahmamayi, Vedamayi Vak, words in the form of Veda comes from him. So that is why he is called Bhagmi. This is the meaning of the word Bhagmi, of the Nama Bhagmi. Then Mahendraha. Mahendraha, very simple Nama, one who is the Lord of the Lords. Mahascha asau Indrascha iti Mahendraha, Ishwaranam api Ishwaraha. That's what Adi Shankara says. He is the Ishwara of Ishwara, of God, Lord of Lords. The word Indra, even though it generally refers to the Lord of the Devatas, the Lord of the Suras, it means in general Ishwara, a Lord. And each loka has got its own Indra. Like Brahmaji is the Lord of Brahmaloka, Yama is the Lord of Yamaloka, and so on. So every loka, the 14 lokas have got their own lords. But Lord Vishnu is Mahanindra, the great Lord, who is the Lord of all these lords. And Mahavishnu is not lorded over by anybody else. And he is limitless also. And that is why he is Mahendra. This is the meaning of Mahendra. Then Vasudaha. Vasu dhanam dadati iti vasudaha, the giver of wealth. Bhagavan is the giver of all forms of vasu, wealth, as karma phala. Because he is the giver of the fruits of action, and this is one of the important aspects of Ishvara. The ahankara manifests when we say, I have failed or I am a failure. In all these conclusions, there is an assumption that I am the author of the result of action. Whenever I say I have succeeded, I am a failure, etc., there is an assumption that I am the author. I am the one who can control what I can get or what I cannot get. So since I am the author, I am the one who is actually doing putting in all the efforts. So I am supposed to produce the result also. But sometimes what happens, I am unable to produce the result, and therefore I consider myself as a failure. This is the problem of our life, of our samsara. Because in our ignorance, we are unable to see beyond our own selves, beyond our own ego. And therefore, constantly and consistently, we have to remind ourselves that we are not the authors of the results of the action. We are the authors of the action, no doubt. Given our free will, we are the authors of our action, but we are not the authors of the results of the action. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. That is what is there in Gita. Bhagavan says that you, Arjuna, has got a control, authorship, or what is management capability over your actions alone. But the results of your action, you have no control. You don't decide the results of your action. You do your action, and the law of karma will decide what result should be given to you for that action. But what happens in our life when we are actually having some expectation, and we start acting in such a manner to fulfill that expectation, and that expectation is not fulfilled for whatever reason, we tend to believe that we are a failure, without understanding that doing an action and getting the results are entirely two different things. If we understand that I have got a right only over the action using my free will, and I have got no control or no say in what the results I get because of my action, because I don't know the law of karma. I don't know each clause, each, what is that detail of the law of karma. Which action will bring in what result, I don't know, except that I know this much. Dharmic actions will earn me punya, and I will get good results for that. And adharmic actions, I will earn papa, and that I will get bad results or unpleasant results for that. That's all. Very broadly, I know. But a specific action that we do, what result that action will bring, we do not know. And in what form that will bring also, we do not know. Many times, what happens is that we do a certain action with a certain expectation. It brings certain results which we have not expected. It's much, much below expectation, or even contrary to our expectation. And we feel that that is actually something, injustice being done to our the efforts that we have put in. God is unjust. That's the That's what we all accuse God of. But God knows better. Even in our failures, God would have kept certain benefit for us. And this, for me personally, I have actually experienced it through life, by living it through my own experience. And that is why, I always believe Ishwara yat karoti shobhanameva karoti. Whatever happens in our life, whatever circumstances that we come across in our life, we face in our life, whatever situations are presented in our life through the law of karma, those situations, even though that may appear to be unpleasant, unpalatable to us at that point in time, they all have got a hidden benefit for us based upon the long-term action plan which God has got for us for this entire life. Because our prarabdha karma and the results of that prarabdha karma are going to flow to us throughout the life. So we cannot, taking one action or one particular instant, come to a decision that I am a failure. So therefore, we are only authors of our action, and since we have the free will, we have a choice over our actions. We are responsible only for our actions, and the results of that are taken care of by Ishvara. And therefore, Pujya Swamiji always emphasizes that I am a failure is a very destructive attitude. And that is because I take myself to be the author of the results of action. This is ignorance and arrogance, and the Shastra tries to remove it. Because every arrogance is born of ignorance only. That Ishvara has the status of being the giver of the results of our action, taking into account not only the current actions but also the past actions. That's what I said. Ishvara yat karoti shobhanameva karoti. So he is the one who gives wealth, power, security, status, and so on. And as karma phala, therefore, he is a Vasudha. Vasudha, of course, here refers to only giver of wealth. But in that nama, we can bring in everything. Everything that a human being desires, we can bring in all the purusharthas into that, including wealth of knowledge. Jnanam also, it is Ishvara's grace that we come in the path of Jnanam, we pursue the spiritual path. So this is Vasudha. Then next nama is continuation, Vasuhu. We have already seen this nama earlier. But here the meaning is taking that Adi Shankara takes, he is the one who is all forms of wealth. Vasuhu means all forms of wealth. We will come across this nama once again later on. Diyamanam tad vasu api sa eveti va vasuhu. Achadayati atmaswarupam mayaya iti va vasuhu. Antariksha eva vasati nanyatra iti asadharanena vasanena vayurva vasuhu. And then he is quoting a small phrase from Kathopanishad, Vasurantarikshasat. It is there in Kathopanishad. So, earlier when Adi Shankara explained the meaning of this word Vasuhu, he took two meanings. Vasanti sarva bhutani atra, the indweller in all beings. And also, he is the one in the form of 8 Vasus, Ashtavasu. This is the meaning we have already seen. Here Adi Shankara takes a different meaning. Here the meaning is taking is Bhagavan is the one who is in the form of all Vasu, all forms of wealth. And hence Lakshmi is also Narayana. So what is given is wealth, and it is given as the karma phala by Ishvara, and what that is also that Ishvara, Lord Narayana only. Whatever wealth we get because of our karma phala. That could be in the form of so many different kinds of wealth, but that wealth also is Narayana alone because it is Lakshmi. That is why in our culture we consider all wealth as Lakshmi only. In fact, the highest wealth that we consider in our culture is Saraswati, because we consider knowledge, jnanam, is one step above Lakshmi. If there is Saraswati, Lakshmi follows. That is what we consider. So all wealth that is there in this Jagat is Vasu, is Ishvara. So the Lord is not only in the form of wealth of the individual, but the entire wealth that obtains anywhere is Lord Narayana, and therefore he is Vasu. This is one meaning. Then the word Vasu can also be derived from the verbal root Vas. Vas means, which has the meaning of covering and dwelling. Vaste achadayati atmaswarupam mayaya iti, as Adi Shankara says. So he is Vasu because he covers himself as though by Maya. We have to say as though because Maya does not cover him, but Maya covers only our vision of him. So because of that also, deriving this word Vasu from Vas Dhatu, he actually hides himself as though hides himself by Maya. So he is all called Vasu because of that reason also. Then air, Vayu, is also known as Vasu because it has a special Vasana in the Antariksha. Vasana means what? A residence. Antariksha is interspace. So it is a special Vasana, special residence in the interspace. And it is the Lord alone who is in the form of air, and hence he is Vasu. And it is that is why Kathopanishad talks of Brahman as Vasuhu Antariksha Sat. This mantra, in one mantra in Kathopanishad it comes. So this Vasu from three different angles, Adi Shankara has explained, and this is the meaning of Vasu. We can understand all standpoints is Vasu only. Bhagavan is Vasu only. Next nama is Naika Rupaha. Naika Rupa is Na Eka Rupaha, Naika Rupaha. The one who has many forms. Ekam Rupam Asyana Vidyate iti Naika Rupaha. Indro Mayabihi Pururupa Iyate. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says this. Iti Shrutehe. Then Vishnu Purana also, Adi Shankara is quoting Jyotishi Vishnuhu Ityadi Smritecha. So both Shruti and Smriti Pramanas he is quoting from Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and also from Vishnu Purana. So Bhagavan, even though he is essentially one, he has many forms. As the material cause of this universe, all forms are his forms alone. This we have already understood and seen. But when that is so, how can Eka Rupa or any one form be said to be his form? This is the problem that we Hindus face. On the one hand, the opponents of our culture, they say, on the one hand, you say Bhagavan has got only one form, but then you are actually worshipping him in so many different forms. So there is a contradiction in your own culture. So what we need to understand is Bhagavan is in the form of time, and time is about changes. Time brings its changes. Again, any one form is actually many. It is all put together. So being in many forms, he has as though become many. People who are ignorant see many, but people who are wise men, who are jnani, see only one. So he is Naika Rupaha. So in this is a compound actually, Na Eka Rupa, Naika Rupa, it's called Nanj Tatpurusha. Na is there, right? So that is retained, negative particle is retained as such. In other namas also we will see this negative particle being retained as such. Na Eka Rupa, Nanj Tatpurusha. I think there is a alam is there, I think. Yeah, I will come to that later. Then Brihat Rupaha, the one whose form is big. Just now we said he has got many forms, and then the one whose form is big. Brihat Mahat Vasudatalam Bibrat Varahadi Rupam Asyeti Brihat Rupaha. The magnitude of this entire Brahmanda, this entire cosmos, its magnitude is mind-boggling, isn't it? Being in the form of this total huge expanding cosmos, he is called Brihat Rupa. Bhagavan is the one who is limitlessly big, and that is why he is called Brahman. The word Brahman itself, the dhatu is Brih dhatu. So in his avatars like Varaha Avatara, Matsya Avatara, Kurma Avatara, etc., he is said to have carried the earth. And in the Vamana Avatara, he measured the 3 worlds with his feet. And in all this, his form was unimaginably big. Just imagine to measure all the 3 worlds just by feet, 3 steps. What is the size? I mean, unimaginable size. So therefore, he is called Brihat Rupaha. The next nama is Shipy Vishtaha. Very interesting nama. The one who has entered into the rays of the sun. Shipayaha Pashavaha Teshu Vishati Pratitishtati Yajna Rupena iti Shipy Vishtaha. This is one meaning Adi Shankara gives. Yajna Murtihi Yajno vai Vishnuhu Pashavaha Shipihi Yajna eva Pashushu Pratitishtati. This is a mantra from Taittiriya Samhita. Iti Shrutehe. Then he comes to this. Shipayo Rashmayah Teshu Nibishta Itiva. Shitya Chayana Yogacha Shitivari Prachakshate Tatpana Drakshana Chaiva Shipayo Rashmayo Matah. So Teshu Praveshat Vishveshah Shipy Vishtaha Iha Uchyate. That's how Adi Shankara concludes his commentary. So Adi Shankara starts by saying that the word Shipy has a meaning of Pashu, animal. Even though the modern Sanskrit dictionaries, they do not show this meaning is found in the Vedas as seen from the mantra in the Taittiriya Samhita, which he quotes. Yajno vai Vishnuhu Pashavaha Shipihi Yajna Eva Pashushu Pratitrishtati. Contextually, it means a sacrificial animal. Shipy means a sacrificial animal, that is a Pashu. Because he says that Bhagavan exists in them in the form of Yajna Murti. And that is why they are given as a sacrifice. And therefore he is called Shipy Vishtaha. This is one meaning, which is a very, the intellect of Adi Shankara helps us in understanding this meaning. If that had not been there, we would not have been able to connect this Shipy with Pashu. Where any dictionary meaning doesn't give this. Then another meaning he says, Shipayo Rashmayaha Teshu Nivishta Itiva. The Lord is called Shipy Vishta because he has entered the rays of the sun. And this is the meaning Puja Swamiji takes. He has entered the rays of the sun. The word Shipy means the ray of the sun. And Adi Shankara explains the derivation of this word in this way. Water is called Shi. Shi because it is cool and it is fit for Shayana, resting. Isn't it? We love going to the swimming pool and just float around. Just, doing nothing. Don't need to, of course, you must know how to float, otherwise you will drown if you are a good swimmer. And that's what even Mahavishnu is doing. He is just floating, in the ocean of milk. And then he says, Tat Pana, because of drinking it. What does that mean, drinking? Drinking here means as though by evaporation. And by evaporation, it is protecting that water, the coolness of that water. Evaporation causes cooling, thus protecting it. So that is why what causes that evaporation is the sun's rays falling on the water. That is why it is called Shipy. You see how he has actually derived this word name, this meaning Shipy from, taking the rays of the sun. Brilliance. And Bhagavan in the Gita also says, Tapamyaham aham varsham nigrahanam. Let me see. I'm forgetting. Shipy Vishta. This. Just give me a minute. Choose this number 73. Yeah. Tapamyaham aham varsham nigrahanam utsrujami cha. The one who as rays of the sun scorch and evaporate the water, and I am the one who holds back the waters and again pours them as rain. So he is the rain, he is the water, he is also these rays of the sun. So that is again Shipy Vishtaha. And the rays of the sun, we must understand, are important for nourishing and energizing this earth and providing the plants with energy. 15th chapter, Bhagavan says, Gama Vishyaja Bhutani Dharayamyaham Ojasa. Ojasa. Ojasa is the energy. He says, as the rays of the sun, I enter this earth and support all life with energy. So for all these meanings we can derive for Shipy Vishtaha, and that is why Bhagavan is called Shipy Vishtaha. The next nama is Prakashanaha, the one who illumines everything. Sarvesham Prakashana Shilatvat Prakashanaha. Since Bhagavan has the capacity to illumine everything, he is called Prakashana. He is Jyotir Jyotihi, light of all lights. All objects have to reflect the light for the eyes to see, isn't it? How do we see an object? If a light falls on an object and the object doesn't reflect that light, our eyes cannot see that object. Suppose the entire light is absorbed by that object. We can't see it. So in the form of the sun, moon, stars, fire, etc., he alone lights up everything that needs to be lighted up so that the eyes can see. But this is merely the physical light we are talking about. But that is also nothing but Bhagavan only rather. But otherwise, we can understand from a purely Swarupa point of view. When we say he is the light of all lights, he is the one who makes everything known to us in this entire world. Not merely from the point of view of our eyes, but ears, our mind, everything. He is the light of consciousness. So, from that point of view also, he is Prakashana. He is the light. Capacity to illumine everything. That means we can understand both from a empirical point of view and also from a Paramarthika point of view. Vyavaharika as well as Paramarthika point of view, we can understand Prakashana as who the Bhagavan, who the one who is the one who is illumining everything. Okay. So I think that completes this sloka. Now we'll go to the next sloka. Ojas tejo dyutidharaha prakashatma pratapanaha riddhas pashtaksharo mantras chandram shur bhaskaradyutihi. So this is again a mantra which has got 8 namas. Ojas tejo dyutidharaha, this is one nama. Prakashatma, one nama. Pratapanaha, then riddhaha, spashtaksharaha, mantraha, chandramshuhu, bhaskaradyutihi. These are the 8 namas in this sloka. So this is the 275th nama. Ojas tejo dyutidharaha, the one who sustains the shine of health, knowledge and valor. Ojaha, tejaha and dyutidharaha. Adi Shankara gives an explanation. Ojaha pranabalam, tejaha shauryadayo gunaha, dyutihi deeptihi, tah dharayati iti ojas tejo dyutidharaha. The next Sanskrit students will really love this. How he has split this word, ojas tejo dyutidharaha. It's a compound, so he has split and he is explaining what this compound is. Taha dharayati iti ojas tejo dyutidharaha. One meaning. Atava Ojas teja iti namadvayam balam balavatam chaham. He says in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, balam balavatam chaham. Iti Bhagavat Vachanat. So you can take Ojas Teja as one nama. Then Dyutihi Jnana Lakshanam Deeptim Dharayati iti Dyutidaraha. So Adi Shankara, Bhagavan Shankaracharya is giving two options. Either you take Ojas Tejo Dyutidaraha as one nama, or you take Ojas Tejo as one nama and Dyuti as another nama. Then everything dharayati iti dyutidaraha. For both he is giving the praman on what basis we can do that. But the main meaning is ojas is pranabala, the strength of our faculties, pancha pranas. When you see a healthy man, there is a certain look, a shine, isn't it? There is a tejas in his entire composure, in his face. And the tejas comes because of ojas. And the ojas, the strength of the ojas is born of the functioning of the prana, the physiological system, the pancha pranas. It has nothing to do with the color or what you can call, the complexion of a person. So tejas, that refers to the qualities like valor, courage, confidence, etc. These again, they manifest as vigor, an energetic look in the person, etc. I mean, we can go on describing it. And as against a person, or as against the look of a person who does not have these qualities. Then duty is the brightness that radiates from a person because of his being intelligent and learned. We have seen so many people who actually are very intelligent, learned, and including people who are actually doing Sandhya Vandanam and all regularly. There is a certain radiance in their face. We can see that. And that is because all these things, even people who do yoga regularly, there's a radiance in their face. They help these pranas to be strong, to be healthy. And that radiates in the entire body. They are very active. So since Bhagavan has got all these, he is called Ojas Tejo Dyutidaraha. So Ojas Tejo Dyutyaha Taha Dharayati. He is the one who sustains all these in whoever he has done. So both ways we can take. One meaning we can take is he is the one who has got all these things in him. So he is Ojas Tejo Dyutidaraha. Or we can take the meaning, it is Bhagavan who sustains all this Ojas, Tejas and Dyuti in all people who have them, and therefore also he is Ojas Tejo Dyutidaraha. But we must understand that whenever we see a person with this kind of qualities, this kind of brightness and what's that, valor and strength, all these we must understand belong to Bhagavan and not to the individual. It is the glory of Bhagavan, and that is why in the Gita he says, Balam balavatam cha aham. I am the strength in the strong. Tejas tejasvinam aham. I am the brilliance in the brilliant. Therefore, the recognition that the ojas, tejas and duty that one enjoys is all given by Bhagavan. It is because of Bhagavan's grace. And this itself, if we keep on reminding ourselves, will help to keep our ego under check. The more we actually chant these with understanding these namas, our ego slowly will get diluted. And that is the whole purpose of this, chanting Vishnu Sahasranamam. If you chant Vishnu Sahasranama without knowing the meanings, it will be just a sort of a karma. It may give some punya, because ultimately you are taking Bhagavan's nama only rather. But it will not help us to dilute our egos, which is the goal, first goal, or the first what they call padhav in the spiritual path. Unless we are able to keep our egos in check and start diluting them, we cannot progress in the physical path, in the spiritual path. The more ego is diluted, the more chitta shuddhi we will gain. So it is Bhagavan who is giving us all these things. So by understanding all these namas, we can actually make progress in the spiritual path. Then next is Prakashatma. He saw just now Prakashana. But here he is a little different. Prakasha Atma, the one who is self-evident. Prakasha Swarupaha Atma Yasya Saha Prakashatma, says Adi Shankara. And Prakasha has got the meaning of being effulgent, right? The Lord is Prakashatma because his nature is Prakasha, is effulgence. He is Swayam Prakasha, self-evident. There's a beautiful mantra in the Upanishads. They describe his effulgence in this way. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidham vibhati. This mantra normally is chanted when we have lighted a camphor and showing it to the Bhagavan, right? As if we are showing some light to Bhagavan. The mantra says, neither the sun nor the moon nor the stars shine, nor these lightnings. They don't shine on their own. So how can this small camphor, this little, shine? Because everything shines after Bhagavan only, who is self-effulgent. And because of his effulgence, everything is lighted. The sun, moon, stars, lightning, fire, all other sources of light, all of them shine because our eyes have got light. It is not only necessary that the light is reflected on them, which happens because of their existence, because of the consciousness pervading them. But there should also be light in our eyes to see them. A person who does not have an eyesight cannot see them, even though they are all reflecting, they are all existing rather. So there is a light which is required in our eyes to see all these things, sun, moon, stars, etc. But we are not referring to the physical light in the eyes. Because when the eyes are closed, then where is the sunlight? All the lights are gone. So it is the light of consciousness which is there in our eyes that we refer to. And that light lights up the sun, the moon, the stars, etc. and everything that shines in the reflected light of all these sources of light. Therefore, the light in my eyes light up everything. The light in my ears lights up the sounds. Light here means we are talking about the light of consciousness. The light behind other senses lights up their respective objects like smell, taste, and touch. Now the question is, what lights up the sense organs? Immediate answer is, it is the mind that is behind the sense organs. And so maybe the mind is that light. Mind is providing light to the sense organs so that they can perceive all these respective objects in their respective areas. So is mind the light? Answer is no. Because the mind itself is lighted up. Where every thought is lighted by one light, and that is the light of all lights, and it lights up everything. And what is that light called? It is called Antarjyoti. With what light can we light up that light, because of which the mind, senses, and all other sources of light and objects shine? So there's a question, what is that light? Here Puja Swamiji gives a nice example. He says in South Indian temples, the Garbhagriha, the main sanctum, is always kept dark. As even there is no light in the womb, the Lord is there. But to see him, a camphor light is waved, chanting this mantra which I just now said. When he is the light of all lights, how are we going to light up with this small camphor light? In fact, the camphor light that we are lighting is not to light up the Lord, but it is to light up our own ignorance, our incapacity to see. Our incapacity to see the real Swarupa of the Lord. So by lighting up that camphor, what we are trying to do is, like I am lighting up this camphor, let my ignorance also, like this camphor light is removing the darkness around Bhagavan. Like that, let the light inside me, the light of consciousness within me, let it light up and then remove my ignorance. So that ignorance is taken care of. So whenever we are showing this camphor, that should be our thought in the mind. Not that we are trying to show Bhagavan, the light rather. Okay. So to eliminate our inadequate and wrong knowledge, we require the light of Shastra. That is another way we can look at it. So the Swarupa of the Lord is one of Prakasha, the light of consciousness, which is the truth of everything in this prapancha. So he is Prakashatma. Then next nama is Pratapanaha. Pratapanaha means the energizer, who provides the energy. Savitra divi bhutibihi. Savitradi vibhutibihi vishwam pratapayati iti pratapanaha. Excuse me. He is Pratapana, the one who energizes this entire universe. Well, we have seen this again and again. The sun, fire, stars, luminary, other luminaries, all of them are but his manifestation only. They are all his vibhutis, his glories only. Science shows that the universe has a certain temperature which is important for the mutable forces to function. For example, the forces like gravitational force, the electromagnetic force are all considered strong. And the weak forces are called mutable forces. They were all non-functional in the unmanifest state. Then when the temperature cooled down, the strong forces started creating the first basic particles. This is all science. Huh? Then the electromagnetic force took care of all the clusters, and also the gravitational force took care of them. And all these forces started working. And for this, the temperature should be maintained. If the temperature is reduced further, then there will be no life. Only if the temperature of this universe is maintained, the life on this earth is possible. And that is the beauty. That is why we are not able to, discover any life either before the earth or beyond the earth. There is a remote possibility that once upon a time, Mars, which is the nearest planet, had life. But because of the cooling down of the Mars, that life disappeared. And Earth now provides the right temperature for life to be sustained. And this temperature needs to be maintained. And maybe after millions of years, the Earth will also cool down and all life on this Earth also will vanish. Probably move to another nearest planet. Venus or something, yeah. Venus, Mars, I don't know, whatever it is. Another planet, it may move, which provides the right temperature for the sustenance of life. So only if the temperature is maintained, life on this earth is possible, or else life will collapse. And the stars are there for maintaining the temperature. Nothing is redundant in this creation. Because the stars, which are all nothing but suns, they all are emitting not only light but a certain degree of heat, which pervades through the universe. And the combination of all these things is what creates a certain temperature on this earth, because of which life is sustaining. Just imagine Bhagavan's design. And that is why we say nothing is redundant in this creation, because everything is Ishvara. So the Lord who maintains the heat and temperature in the form of the sun, stars, and such others is Pratapana. Then the next Nama is Riddha. Riddha means the one who is prosperous. Dharma Jnana Vairagyadibihi Upetatvat Riddha. He is Riddha, prosperous and wealthy, being endowed with Dharma, Jnana, and Vairagya. Dharma, we all know what is Dharma. Jnana and knowledge, Vairagya, dispassion, etc. In terms of knowledge, he is Sarvagnya, all-knowing. In terms of power, he is Sarvashaktiman, the Almighty. There is nothing lacking in Ishvara. He has infinite virtues. Anything that one wants, like water, food, wealth, workforce, manpower, etc., so on, that is prosperity, isn't it? If you want wealth, prosperity, even food. Food is prosperity for a person who has not eaten for days. Water is prosperity in deserts. If you see an oasis, that is prosperity. There is no water anywhere. So this prosperity is also a very relative term. So all these things are all forms of prosperity, and Bhagavan is Riddha, because there is nothing lacking in him. All this prosperity is all Bhagavan alone. So that is why he is Riddha. I think it's time we will stop here and I'll say the prayers. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Guruji.
Namaskaram, Guruji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om. Hari Om, Guruji. Dhanyawada.
Thank you.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you very much. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಗುರುಜಿ.
Are there any questions anybody has got, or any doubts, or any clarifications people want? If there is nothing, then we can close the session. I'll wait for 1 minute. But if anybody has got by this time, they would have raised their hand. So obviously, I'm not seeing any raised hands. So I hope that nobody has got any doubt or question. So we will close the session and continue on next Sunday. Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Madhya.
Thank you. Thank you.